Jim Nabors painfully dies after revealing the secret of marriage. Jim Nabors, an American television icon and beloved performer, captured the hearts of audiences worldwide with his warm personality, distinct voice, and memorable performances. Born on June 12, 1930, in Sylacauga, Alabama, Nabors came from humble beginnings, but his unique talent propelled him to great success in the entertainment industry. He is best known for his portrayal of Gomer Pyle, the naive but good-hearted mechanic on The Andy Griffith Show and its successful spin-off series, Gomer Pyle, USMC, where his southern drawl and comedic timing became signature elements of his performances. Growing up in rural Alabama, Nabors' childhood was shaped by the simple values of hard work and community. He attended the University of Alabama, where he began to explore his interest in the arts through singing and acting. After graduating, Nabors moved to New York City to work as a typist and pursue acting in off-Broadway productions. However, his rise to fame began in an unlikely venue, Los Angeles nightclubs. While working at a Santa Monica club, Nabors performed cabaret, blending his rich baritone singing voice with comedic monologues, quickly gaining a following. It was during one of these performances that Jim Nabors caught the attention of television producer Andy Griffith, a moment that would change the course of his career. Jim Nabors' big break came in 1962 when he was cast as Gomer Pyle on The Andy Griffith Show. Originally a minor character, Gomer Pyle was a dim-witted but lovable gas station attendant with a signature exclamation of Shazam! The character's popularity soared, and Nabors' portrayal was so endearing that producers decided to expand the role, making him a recurring cast member. His chemistry with Andy Griffith and the rest of the cast turned Gomer into one of television's most memorable characters, and by 1964, Gomer Pyle had his own show, Gomer Pyle, USMC, where the character joined the Marines. The spin-off series was an enormous success, running for 5 seasons from 1964 to 1969. Nabors' character remained a fish out of water in the rigid military setting, with much of the humor coming from Gomer's cluelessness and good-natured charm in contrast to the gruff Sergeant Carter, played by Frank Sutton. The show became one of the top-rated series during its run, making Jim Nabors a household name. Despite being best known for his comedic role as Gomer Pyle, Jim Nabors was a man of many talents, particularly as a singer. His rich baritone voice was a stark contrast to his high-pitched Gomer Pyle persona, and he frequently showcased his vocal talent on variety shows. In fact, Nabors' singing career was just as successful as his acting, with numerous albums to his credit, including The Jim Nabors Hour and Jim Nabors Sings Love Me With All Your Heart. His music featured a range of genres, from gospel to romantic ballads, and his albums sold millions of copies. His rendition of The Impossible Dream became particularly popular, and his Christmas albums were perennial favorites during the holiday season. In addition to his musical accomplishments, Nabors made guest appearances on various television programs, starred in several made-for-TV movies, and even hosted his own variety show, The Jim Nabors Hour, 1969 to 1971, which combined comedy skits with musical performances. He was a frequent guest on The Carol Burnett Show, where he developed a lifelong friendship with Carol Burnett, appearing on her show's season premieres and specials. Jim Nabors was a private individual, and despite his fame, he lived quietly outside the spotlight. In 1975, Nabors settled in Hawaii, where he fell in love with the natural beauty and peacefulness of the islands. He became a prominent member of the Hawaiian community, frequently hosting events at his plantation estate and contributing to local causes. Jim Nabors' marriage to his partner Stan Cadwallader in 2013 was a significant moment in both his personal life and the history of same-sex marriage in the United States. On January 15, 2013, just a month after Washington state legalized same-sex marriage, Nabors and Cadwallader were wed in an intimate ceremony at the Fairmont Olympic Hotel in Seattle. The two had been partners for 38 years by this time, solidifying a relationship that had stood the test of time and various social pressures. This was an especially meaningful moment for Nabors, a beloved television star known for his role as Gomer Pyle on The Andy Griffith Show and its spin-off, Gomer Pyle, USMC, and for Cadwallader, a former fireman who had been by Nabors' side for decades. Nabors and Cadwallader's relationship had begun in the 1970s, during a time when being openly gay was still highly stigmatized, particularly in Hollywood. Cadwallader, then a firefighter in Honolulu, met Nabors in the mid-1970s, and the two quickly formed a bond. By 1975, they were officially dating, though their relationship was kept largely private due to societal attitudes toward homosexuality. Nabors' decision to marry Cadwallader in 2013 was a bold public affirmation of their love, but it also drew criticism from some corners, particularly from individuals or groups who opposed same-sex marriage. Despite the criticism, Nabors stood firm in his decision, stating that he had always lived his life openly with those closest to him, even if the public had not always been privy to the details of his personal life. One misconception that circulated after the marriage announcement was the idea that Cadwallader, being a former firefighter, was somehow not aligned with the LGBTQ+ community. There were unfounded rumors that Stan Cadwallader was straight, though these rumors were never substantiated. While it's possible that people assumed this due to his occupation or other factors, the idea that he and Nabors shared a deep, romantic partnership was undeniable. Their relationship, which spanned nearly 4 decades, was based on mutual love, support, and a shared understanding of the challenges they faced as a couple in a society that had, for many years, not fully accepted same-sex relationships. Nabors and Cadwallader's relationship, while not widely publicized, was also not entirely secret. Those in their inner circle and many of Nabors' close friends and associates knew about his long-term partner. For instance, Nabors had openly brought Cadwallader along to various public events. One significant example was in 1978, when Nabors performed at the Indianapolis 500, a highly publicized and popular event. Cadwallader accompanied him, showing that while Nabors had not officially come out at the time, he was comfortable enough in his relationship to bring his partner into public spaces where media and fans could observe them together. This suggests that Nabors was not hiding his relationship but rather navigating the complex social norms of the time, which often required a delicate balance between private and public life for LGBTQ+ individuals. Interestingly, Nabors' marriage to Cadwallader also brought back to light an old and persistent rumor that had followed him for decades, a rumor that claimed he had once been married to another Hollywood legend, actor Rock Hudson. The story, which dated back to the early 1970s, alleged that Nabors and Hudson had secretly wed in a private ceremony. According to the rumor, Hudson had even taken on the surname of Nabors' most famous character, Gomer Pyle, and was henceforth known as Rock Pyle. This rumor was entirely fabricated, yet it gained so much traction that it eventually forced both Nabors and Hudson to address it publicly. The origin of this bizarre tale is said to have come from a group of middle-aged friends who lived in Huntington Beach, California. These friends had a tradition of sending out joke invitations for their annual get-together. One year, they sent out a spoof invitation for the marriage of Rock Hudson and Jim Nabors, playing on the public personas of both actors. What began as a harmless inside joke, however, quickly snowballed into a full-fledged rumor, spreading through Hollywood circles and beyond. Despite the absurdity of the rumor, it persisted for years, to the point where both Nabors and Hudson made a conscious effort to avoid being seen together in public for fear of adding fuel to the fire. Hudson, who was privately gay but did not come out publicly until just before his death from AIDS-related complications in 1985, often laughed off the rumors, but they had real consequences for his and Nabors' ability to maintain a friendship. The Rock Hudson rumor illustrates the challenges that gay men in Hollywood faced during that era. Both Hudson and Nabors were popular figures whose public images were carefully managed to appeal to mainstream, often conservative, audiences. In an industry where being openly gay could be career-damaging, rumors like this could create undue stress and force individuals into silence or secrecy. For Nabors, the persistent rumors were a reminder of how closely the public scrutinized the private lives of celebrities, especially when it came to their sexuality. In marrying Cadwallader, Nabors was able to live his truth openly and legally, something he might not have imagined possible earlier in his career. Although their marriage came late in Nabors' life, he was 82 years old at the time. It marked a significant victory for both the couple and the broader movement for LGBTQ+ rights. Their union symbolized how far society had come in its acceptance of same-sex love, while also reflecting the personal journey Nabors had undertaken in balancing his public persona with his private identity. Nabors died at his Honolulu, Hawaii, home on November 30, 2017, aged 87. His death was mourned by fans, colleagues, and the entertainment industry at large. He left behind a legacy of kindness, humor, and extraordinary talent. His career spanned decades, and while Gomer Pyle will always be his most iconic role, Jim Nabors was much more than the character he portrayed. He was a gifted singer, a trusted friend, and a trailblazer for future generations of performers. Jim Nabors' impact on television and popular culture cannot be overstated. His ability to portray an innocent, well-meaning character like Gomer Pyle resonated with viewers during the time of social upheaval in the 1960s. In a world filled with uncertainty, Gomer's unwavering goodness and humor offered a sense of stability and comfort. Nabors' deep baritone voice and gentle demeanor made him a beloved figure in American homes. In tribute to Nabors, many of his colleagues spoke of his generosity, warmth, and incredible talent. Carol Burnett, his close friend, referred to him as one of the kindest and most generous people in the business. Frank Sutton's widow noted the close friendship between Nabors and her late husband, who played Gomer's nemesis on Gomer Pyle, USMC. Even after his death, Nabors' contributions continue to inspire admiration and respect from those who grew up watching his shows or listening to his music. His work lives on through reruns of The Andy Griffith Show and Gomer Pyle, USMC, introducing new generations to his unique blend of humor and heart. Additionally, his music, especially his Christmas albums, continues to be a staple for many families during the holiday season.